Welcome back. In our last episode, we travelled to sunny Portugal to undertake some RYA training, and were well and truly bitten. And in this episode, we're going to talk about our sailing journey and the process of buying our new sailboat. So if you're interested to find out a little bit more, then stay tuned.
And I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night.
Hi, we're Sam and Vika, and we live aboard Kaia, our Lagoon 440 catamaran, sailing through the Mediterranean with our three dogs, Indy, Cooper and Brooklyn. But before we got here, we had to leave behind our old lives and take a leap into the unknown. This is the story of how we made our dream a reality. I grew up in the UK, always drawn to adventure. Over the years, I've backpacked through Asia and India, ridden motorbikes through jungles and camped in some incredible places. Always on the lookout for another adventure.
I'm originally from Lithuania, but my journey has taken me all over the world, living in places like Russia, America, and the UK. I have always loved traveling and learning about new cultures, but I was also searching for more connection to something deeper. Like many people, we reached a point in our lives where we started questioning what we really wanted. After working in our industries for over 10-15 years, we found ourselves craving a different pace, something more meaningful, more adventurous, and more connected to nature and each other.
That's when the idea of buying a boat began to take root. At first, it was just a passing thought, something we'd dream about after work or at the weekends. But the more we talked about it, the more it started to feel like something we could actually do.
Of course, we had no idea where to begin. We didn't grow up sailing, we didn't have boating experience, and we weren't even sure what kind of boat we wanted.
That's when I discovered sailing channels on YouTube. These people were out there living this amazing nomadic life on the water, and I thought, why can't that be us? We'd binge watch channels like Sailing La Vagabond and S Fidelos every night. At the same time, I was diving deep into podcasts, books, and forums about sailing. I couldn't stop reading and learning. It felt like I'd found my next big adventure.
For me, this was a time for personal growth. I started yoga training and eventually traveled to Bali to teach and heal. Overcoming my fear of water was a massive part of that journey, and it opened up me to the idea of sailing.
The idea took hold. I started learning to sail, beginning with dinghy lessons on Marina Lake and moving up to a 21-foot sailboat that I spent the summer sailing on a local lake, as well as getting used to rigging the boat and undertaking small maintenance jobs.
Then Sam got the chance to join a cruise sailing along the Atlantic coast of Portugal.
That trip changed everything. Spending time offshore and navigating the Atlantic gave me the confidence to take the next step.
Sailing in the Med comes with its own rules. One of the big ones is that you need a day skipper qualification as a minimum to captain your own boat. So we packed our bags and headed to southern Portugal to take our courses. I took the component crew course while Sam went for his day skipper qualification. It was an intense few days, navigating, practicing mooring, and even learning what to do in the emergencies. It was a big challenge, but also one of the most rewarding experiences we have had. If you want to see how we got on, check our first episode.
With our new qualifications in hand, we started thinking seriously about the kind of boat we wanted. At first, we considered monohulls. They're classic and often more affordable, but with 3 dogs and comfort being a priority, we quickly realized a catamaran made more sense. Catamarans are stable, spacious, and perfect for living aboard long term. After months of research, we decided on a Lagoon 440, a tried and tested catamaran with a layout we loved.
The search for the right boat was no small task. We spent hours watching videos, scrolling through listings and reading forums. Then we found her, a Lagoon 440 in Spain, owned by a Dutch couple who clearly cared for her deeply. We traveled to Spain to see her in person. The moment we stepped aboard, we knew she was special. We spent hours going through every inch of the boat, checking the systems, inspecting the sails, and making note of any upgrades or modifications we'd want to make. The owners were incredible. They shared their stories of life aboard Kaia, and the passion for the boat was contagious.
On returning to the UK, we did plenty of soul searching as to if we were actually ready to take on this new challenge. We hadn't initially planned on leaving our land life behind so quickly, but we'd fallen head over heels for this boat. We decided to put in an offer, and after some negotiations with the seller's broker, we settled on a price, securing our future home and the many adventures it would take us on. We opted to skip using a buyer's agent and did all of the research ourselves, learning about ownership transfers, legal requirements, and how to hire a surveyor. The next steps were critical: a thorough survey and sea trial. It's like a full health check for the boat. After researching online, asking in forums, and obtaining several quotations, we hired a trusted surveyor to meticulously inspect every inch of the boat, from the hull to the rigging to the engine room. We contacted a local boatyard and arranged for the boat to be lifted out of the water and hung in slings while the surveyor did his work, inspecting the hulls for any cracks, osmosis, or soft spots with the use of an ultrasound probe. All of the boat through hulls were checked over and the sail drives and propellers reviewed for any damage. It was a nerve-wracking moment, but thankfully everything checked out. With the boat back in the water, the surveyor inspected all of the equipment on board. Both Yanmar engines and ST50 sail drives were checked over for any immediate issues. The steering and throttle mechanisms were checked to ensure all of the cables were in good order. Deck, boom and mast hardware was inspected for wear, ensuring that all sailing lines operated smoothly. Water pumps and pipework was inspected for any corrosion or suspect leaking. Electronics and navigation equipment was tested to ensure all in working order.
Following the survey, we undertook a sea trial. Raising the sails, we took the boat out into the harbor and felt our first real glimpse of how sailing life would be aboard our new home. The survey went smoothly, and the sea trial was exhilarating. We wanted to ensure that the boat sailed as beautifully as it looked, and it exceeded our expectations.
A few weeks later, the survey report arrived to us. Thankfully, she passed with flying colours. A few minor repairs were needed, but overall, she was ready to go. Once the survey was complete and the sail was moving forward, it was time to make her officially ours, starting with registering her under a new name. The process for registering a boat name in the UK is fairly straightforward and can be done online through the UK Ship Register. After tossing around dozens of ideas and checking that our favourites weren't already taken, we settled on Kaia.
In Hawaiian, Kaia means the sea, and in Indian it means the earth. Two elements that perfectly reflect our journey and the life we are creating between the land and ocean. It felt grounding, powerful, and just right.
Back in the UK, we started to prepare for our new life, renting out our house, selling our cars, and saving as much money as we could. We also had to prepare the dogs, which involved a lot of paperwork, vaccines, and even dog passports.
Saying goodbye to our family and friends was bittersweet, but we knew this was the start of something incredible. With our bags packed and our dreams ahead of us, it was finally time to move aboard Kaia and start this new adventure.
In our next episode, we take the leap into full-time boat life, settling in and embracing the reality of life on the water. Thank you for being a part of this journey. There's so much more to come. Don't forget to subscribe and follow along as we explore the Med and beyond. See you next time.